Hey everybody, how's everybody doing?
I'm pretty good.
Doing good.
Doing just fine.
Let's do a quick who's who and then we'll get on to some blibber blabber and just some good old Christmas holiday chat.
All right, who wants? I guess I'll start. I'm Losho, otherwise known as Travis, and I used to do reviews for UltimateGuitar.com, a variety of genres, including metal, rock, even some prog. And I've recently stopped doing it, but I may return to it at some point in the future. I've also done some music under the name Borealia. It's available on Spotify and Apple Music. And yeah, just a general musician, album reviewer. I do mine in print, unlike the rest of you, but part of the gang.
Nothing wrong with print.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ian.
Oh gosh, yes, I've been called out. Hello. I was being too British. I was like, oh, I'm going to be polite and let everyone else go first, but no, I've been called out. So, hello, yes, my name's Ian. I run the channel of Rhyme Signatures, only a little baby channel at the moment. It's been going for about almost 12 months, actually. In fact, next month will be my 1-year anniversary. Oh, how exciting! I have a lot of fun doing it. I don't really consider myself necessarily a purely music review channel, more like a recommendations channel, I suppose, is what I really want to talk about here. As I found out fairly swiftly on that I don't particularly enjoy talking about things that I don't like because I don't want to be that guy, but I want to basically spread the joy of music, as it were, and really just give you insight and thoughts and feelings on things that I really, really like and really enjoy, and hopefully just really open up the more obscure stuff from across various different parts of the prog sphere to people who may not have heard it yet. Mostly, I like metal. I'm a bit of a, throw out the horns kind of guy. But I do like a bit of everything across the field, from like post-rock to sludge and stoner metal as well, and just general prog rock and stuff like that from the 1970s and neo-prog, everything in between, really. And I like Twitter, as you can probably guess, so my videos tend to go on for a bit whilst I sort of wax lyrical about everything that I can think of. And with that being said, that's me done with the intro.
Nice. Naomi.
Hi, so my name's Naomi, and I usually don't get to do stuff like this because I'm too preoccupied with what I'm doing already. So yeah, I come from a channel called 365 Days of Prog, in which I basically review a prog album each and every day of 2022, and it's almost over. It's almost over. I've listened to 345 albums and made their videos, and currently we have like half a month left until we finish this whole thing off. Wow. And it has been really fun. I discovered so many things because I was really like not discovering music back in 2021 and before that, and I'm having a blast, and that's how I got to meet all of you, so I'm really excited for this.
Hey. That's impressive, that feat that you've obtained.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd have the dedication or the time to do that. That's awesome. Nathan.
All right, I'm Nathan. I do a channel on YouTube called Nathan on Shuffle, very much prog related content. I have basically 4 set style shows that I do on the channel. One is a weekly news roundup of what's happening in prog. One's a top 5 video where I count down top 5 of some prog or music related concept or topic. And then I do prog album reviews, basically albums that I recommend that I think are really great. And then I do shows with my wife where I'm introducing her to prog music, and we do reactions together, where I usually know the progressive rock piece that we're covering, but she's new to it, and we get to see her reaction live. So it's a lot of fun. And yeah, it's been about 1.5 years or so that I've been doing my channel. So it's been a really great ride so far.
Mike.
Yeah, so I guess most people know me for Notes for Views. I just passed 8 years, so I guess I'm kind of the old timer here. Yeah, it's hard to believe. So yeah, at Notes Reviews, I cover progressive rock, metal, any music that I'm listening to at the time. And yeah, I've also produced a couple of podcasts. I've got the Quid Prog Quo podcast, where I introduce my friends and loved ones to progressive rock music, and they get me to listen to whatever they want me to listen to. I've got my the Metalhead podcast, where my friend Grace Hayhurst, who some of you know, we do a meditative podcast about metal music. And yeah, that's all kind of like the music related stuff. And yeah, that's me.
Nice. And I'm Brent, of course, your host for tonight. And my channel is A Similitude of Prague. I've also got a radio show I do every Friday. And let's talk about music.
Yeah.
What's music? Never heard of it.
Yeah, what's
New
music?
concept.
What's everybody think of the new Haken?
Oh. My
Really
boys
good. Yeah.
love them.
Yeah, I'm going to just go out on the record to say I haven't heard it yet, because I know scandalous. I have just found the last handful of like really big anticipated albums I have spoiled myself for getting too used to the singles leading up to the album. And then once I get the album, it feels half familiar and half novel, which creates a very disjointed listen. So
That's fair.
yeah,
That's
so like all of the new Porcupine Tree stuff, all the new Neil Moore stuff, I purposefully like avoid like the plague. Like I don't want to see it at all.
So should we be avoiding spoilers?
No, go because I'm not listening to it, right? So you guys
Well,
can
there
say
you go,
whatever you
there you
want,
go.
you know. So
Like,
that's
I kind of have like a bit of a strict rule with these things. Like I will listen to it maybe once as soon as it comes out, and then it is gone forever. I will not touch it until the record comes out. So it's kind of like I get myself hyped, but I hope by the time it comes out, I've kind of forgotten most of it.
3 months is so long to wait though.
I mean,
I
it's not
know.
March, isn't it?
And you're probably guaranteed to get 2 more singles probably before.
Oh yeah, probably.
yeah. Is that new single that they put out earlier this year going to be on that record, or was that just like
Nightingale, yes.
Nightingale?
It's-
Okay, I didn't know if it was kind of like a one and done kind of single that they put out there.
I think it's actually the second track. They've released the track list.
Oh, they released it. Okay, well, yeah,
It's
I was
about
spoiled.
60 odd minutes, I think, overall.
Yeah, I was spoiled that track because they played it live when I saw them open for Symphony X.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was good. I was just like, okay,
Nice.
if this is what it sounds like, they're heavy. They're
If you like
intense.
that track, you're probably going to like the new single. It's in a very similar vein. I actually find like just the overall texture of the song. My friend Shane, who's also a very big prog head and fan of bands like Haken, Dream Theater, and all that, he said it sounds like what Leprous is trying to go for nowadays, like with a more pop sound. But they're doing it better than Leprous did.
I think I'd agree with that 100%. Like that kind of vocal thing that Ross does at the start, like the fast vocals that he does. Oh, love it. Absolutely love it.
I love the synth textures in the song too. Like it feels good. It just feels like a good, solid Haken tune. Like I was worried when Diego left the band. Like,
same.
Diego is such a unique keyboardist. Unique in that he's identical to Jordan Rudess.
Very much so.
But I was worried because I really love Diego's style, and it's a little bit wary of like whenever a new player comes into the band, although like
He's not new though, is he?
no, he's their original
The original.
Was
keyboardist.
he on Aquarius?
The demo tapes, I believe.
Yeah.
I think Enter the Fifth Dimension was
Yes.
the one
Yeah,
that was
he
on.
I've got
on
a
that one.
signed copy of that somewhere around here.
Ooh.
I know. I sent an email to the band saying, I like your work. Please, 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 can I have a copy of your demo CD? And they're like, yeah, right. I just signed the cover. I was like, oh!
Yeah, so they have their original keyboardist back, but I'm quite happy with how he's performing on these new tracks.
Amazing.
It still sounds like Haken.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Has anybody else listened to the new Near Obliviscaris track, though?
Again, I'm keeping myself.
I have.
Oh my god, I am
Too
so
busy.
hyped. I am so hyped.
I hear you. It's
I was a
pretty
little bit
epic.
worried, I'll be honest with you, because obviously when Cygnus got booted out of the band for being gross, let's put it that way, I was a bit sort of bummed out because despite everything, he was a phenomenally talented bass player, like ridiculous. And I was just thought, how the hell are they going to get anybody to fill those shoes from a purely like talent or technical perspective? And not only does the new person absolutely blow it out the water, it's incredibly beautifully mixed into this new single. So it just sounds so freaking good.
So I was mentioning before we started that I've been having some issues with ear infection. So I'm having a little trouble telling like if the mix is really good, but I can tell the bass playing is absolutely off the charts. Like I'm a bass player myself, and
Same.
it's insane. And speaking of Neobliviscaris, Mike, you might remember when I picked this bad boy up.
Oh yes.
A cassette of Earn.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they put it out on a cassette. What the heck?
Neither did I until I went to Sonic Boom Records in Toronto and saw it. I had to have it.
Amazing. It's a bit of an odd trend recently, the whole like re-releasing stuff on cassette, because it's just like I think it's like fun, the novelty of owning things on cassette again, but I don't particularly like cassette as a medium because it wears out.
It's like owning vinyls. Who does that?
Who would do shots fired?
I mean, I've had experiences where I've brought like my Walkman on the bus, and you know, every once in a while somebody will see it and be like, holy crap, I haven't seen one of those in years. and then I'll get like once in a while there will be somebody who's like, why are you listening to tapes? And then I'll answer with, well, you know, when I try to listen to my vinyls on the bus, the records skip.
Yeah.
Amazing. Love that.
Oh boy. Yeah, I have the latest Ghost record on cassette tape. And then I brought it home because it was like $15. I'm like, I don't have anything to play this on. Because I had like, I think 3 or 4 different types of cassette tape players. Like I had my Sony Walkman and like a boombox, but they're all long gone now. And I'm like, well, how on earth am I going to play these? So I found a cassette tape player at Sonic Boom in Toronto, but I guess they don't make them like they used to because it's all wonky and the motors all over the place. So it sounds like
I was telling you about that before. Like all cassette mechanisms now are based on one design. I believe it's called a Tenation, and like, you know, they're all made in China. Like they're all made in China, so it doesn't really matter where it's made, but everything is just made on this like one super cheap, super low end, low spec design nowadays. So it doesn't matter if you buy like a Walkman that's brand new or like a rack mounted or like something you would put like in your hi-fi system. If it was made in the last 10, 15 years, it's going to have the same mechanism in it, no matter what.
Sucks, but
so it's like, in a way, you're almost kind of better off like getting like find it here, like an old Sony Walkman. But I still also do advocate, like one of the last videos I did for reviewing anything on YouTube was this Jensen unit, which is a brand new cassette player. And I mean, there are reasons why you would want to have a brand new one. Even if they are very cost cut, very poorly made, they're brand new. You can get a refund from Amazon or wherever you bought it. You can't really, like, it's harder to get a refund on eBay when you buy a vintage Walkman.
Yeah.
And vintage gear, I mean, it's 50-50 on whether you're going to get something that's perfectly operating or something that's been sitting for 30 years and needs the belts replaced, and you know, other components may have worn out over time. So there is something to be said for buying a brand new product.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, 100%. Just looking at my little notes that I've got here. I kind of want to hear what's, I want to hear some concert stories from people. I want to hear what somebody, so let's wind it back. I want to hear what everybody's favorite concert memory has been. I'd love to hear about that.
For this year, or like
in general? just as a sort of in
Oh.
general kind of thing. I think that'd be really fun if we just share some stories about that.
Okay.
Oh.
I mean, I've got two that come right to the forefront. Obviously, the first one is the one that changed my life, which was when I saw the Musical Box perform the Selling England by the Tour set. And yeah, when I heard First the Fifth for the first time live, it literally changed my life. But I think the other one was when I saw Haken for the first time with their North American tour, the first time they ever came over here. That tour is probably my second favorite show of all time because Next to None opened up for them. So Mike
Oh.
Portnoy took the stage for half a second and was like, hey, be kind to these guys because they're new. And because it was like this really dingy bar in Toronto where it was like maybe 25 of us maximum, I was like spitting distance to Portnoy.
Nice.
And Next to None were fantastic. They were incredible. And then Haken was touring the Restoration album, so we got Crystallized, and then they ended the set with
The gong?
Vision. Oh, we got the gong. But,
Oh, amazing!
yeah, but
That's
yeah,
what you
they,
want.
yeah, they ended the whole set with Visions, and the buddy that I was with at the time, he was like, "I gotta leave." You know, we just finished like the first encore track was Drowning in the Flood, and then he's like, okay, that's all they're going to do, so I'm going to leave. And then he leaves, and then they come back out and they do all the Visions, and I'm like, well, my life is complete.
Amazing.
It was
Amazing.
yeah, that's probably my favorite. Those are my two favorite concert moments.
Oh, trying to think of favorite concert moments for me is a little tough because I've seen a few good ones. One of them actually involves the same band, same song even. When we saw Haken opening, or not Haken opening, when we saw Haken with Leprous and Bent Knee opening, and that was you were there, Mike, and my friend Shane was with
I
us
went to
as
the
well.
European version of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was, I think, my second or third time seeing Haken live, and no, it was my second time. And I was already kind of familiar with their set, but I'd never really listened to the Restoration EP before that, and their encore that night was Crystallized as well, and that was the first time I'd ever heard the song, and I'm hearing one of their most epic pieces of music being performed by the band live. And there were a lot of times where like Shane and I were like looking at each other because we'd never heard this song before, and our jaws are just on the floor, like especially like at the a cappella part, like we're looking at each other like, is this even legal? Is this band even allowed to do this? Like, it was crazy. So that's one of my favorite concert experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of Neil Morse related experience. I've seen Neil Morse probably at least a dozen times or more. I remember seeing Transatlantic for the first time with my friend Kevin. It was for the Whirlwind tour, and I just never thought I'd see Transatlantic live. I thought they were basically done as a band when Neil left Spock's Beard and Transatlantic and all that. So it was a magical experience. We were just in line hearing them like rehearsing backstage and things like that, and we're just getting so pumped and excited. The whole Progressive Nation at Sea cruise that I went on was an amazing experience also. I mean, it was like all of my favorite bands were on the ship essentially. It was Haken, Riverside, Beardfish, Spock's Beard, Transatlantic, Deer Hunter, Thank You Scientists were even on a lighter stage. And so it was just like a mind-blowing thing. There was John Anderson performed with Transatlantic at the end of the cruise, which was amazing. They performed The Revealing Science of God together.
Oh, wow.
Neil Morse joined Spock's Beard for I think he played the June and the Light with Spock's Beard in the theater. So it was just like all these crazy like combinations and great music, and it was just really, really fun. So that's probably the highlight of my going to see live shows.
So speaking of Transatlantic, are they done?
Probably. I think.
I mean, there's been no official thing, but everybody keeps dropping little hints, and like the title of that new live album was called what? The Final Flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to think they were done.
I hope not. I mean,
It'll if they do return, it'll probably be a pretty lengthy hiatus at the very
Mm.
least.
Oh,
And maybe
exactly.
they'll do some kind of reunion like 5 years from now or something. Who
you know,
knows?
one or
Yeah.
two
Fingers
on a
crossed.
show kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They usually work on a 10-year cycle, right? Because we got the first two albums back to back. We got
Yeah.
fourth and fifth album back to back, and then we got,
Will
I
they
guess,
ever wait?
the stubble one. So it's,
Yeah.
they work in 10-year cycles.
Yeah.
So maybe in
yeah.
another 10 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully. How about yourself, Naomi? What was your favorite concert memory?
So the thing is, okay, seeing as I live in like this distinct, very non-progressive region of our Earth, we don't really get so many bands around here, at least not in Prague terms. So I can tell you my general story because it's pretty short. No, but the thing is, so when I got into Prague, which was around 2015, I was kind of just getting into it, Pink Floyd, the usual, and of course nobody plays Pink Floyd here. And then when I got into King Crimson, I think, yeah, I got into King Crimson, but I didn't really get to know a lot of the discography. So in 2019, I kind of made the right mistake, if that even makes any sense, because I basically booked tickets to see King Crimson in Germany on their 50th anniversary tour.
Nice.
And I saw them and I had a blast. It was on my birthday, it was like the stars aligned, it was great. I had a blast, but I knew maybe 15% of the songs that they played. I was so unacquainted with everything. So I basically heard like half of King Crimson's discography for the first time in that show. But
That still sounds pretty good to me.
and yeah, it's good, but it was like underwhelming in a sense because I really didn't know what I was listening to at the time. And then when I came back, I like really started digging into their discography. And then I went to a tribute show here. A few guys like got around to doing a tribute show, and I loved that one because they only played their debut album, and I knew all of the songs on that one, so I felt good with myself. But I think the prime definitely was this year when I finally got to go to Germany to attend the Night of the Prague Festival, which was, to me,
Wow.
it was such a blast because up until this point, the only real progressive band, like prog rock band that I saw live was King Crimson. Now I got to see, Renaissance, the Pineapple Thief, Steve Hackett, PFM, and so many others. It was mind-boggling, amazing. And I have a ton of stories from there. And like, I also have this shirt in the background, which has the channel logo, and it has
nice.
the signatures
Wow.
of everyone that performed in
wow,
the
that's really
festival.
cool.
And
That's
it also
cool.
acts
That
as
is
an
cool.
acoustic like insulator, stuff like that. So it's really good. And
That's
Full
fantastic.
purpose.
yeah, definitely. And it was just the best time ever. And hopefully I can go there again like next year because it was just an amazing experience.
Yeah, wow. You mentioned Pink Floyd, and that actually brought up another concert memory for me. A good friend of mine, Kevin Kloss, a local musician, is involved with a local Pink Floyd tribute act called Affordably Numb. That's a great name.
Oh, that's great.
And I've seen them twice. The first time they played like sort of a general set with a whole bunch of different numbers from all across their discography. And I made some offhand comment after the show of like, Kevin had mentioned the possibility of doing The Wall in its entirety. And I'm like, no local band can pull that off. Like you would need too much. Like you would need too many samples going on in the background, too many extra musicians. And
Yeah.
what was their second show? They did The Wall in its entirety. and
my
they
God.
pulled it off with like the giant schoolmaster in like as a prop on the stage and everything. Like it was
fun.
so mind-blowing that like this local
amazing.
level band, like a bunch of people I know in person, managed to pull together and do The Wall in its
That's
entirety.
extremely cool.
That was it was
Yeah.
one of the most like mind-blowing nights of my life. I sang along with every word.
You just reminded something. I have to say this right now,
Go
but
on.
speaking of like local bands doing stuff, so I'm in this one of these Facebook groups of like Israeli prog lovers, and I remember like about 3 months ago, someone wrote there, "Hi, I'm looking for people who know how to play the entirety of Close to the Edge, like really good." And we were all like, okay, this is interesting. And a few people like popped up. And then about a month ago, they were like, okay, we're actually doing this. Like, here are the tickets. Here's the show. We're doing a Close to the Edge night, the entire album, plus more tracks of like various other prog bands. And I was hyped. I bought the tickets and we went there. And you know, it's interesting. There were so many technical difficulties. I can't even. They started playing the title track 2 times from the beginning because it just didn't work out for them. And then as it went along, so many technical difficulties. But the crowd itself were so ecstatic for like the opportunity to just see it being played live, that it all felt like heaven at the moment. With the difficulties and stuff like that. And honestly. That just reminded me how much I love the community that gets around progressive rock, shares the experience. It was such a sublime experience to me, and definitely made my year. And then when I came back home from that show, I was experiencing some very bad nausea and headaches, and apparently I contracted COVID again.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
Nah, it's worth it.
A concert was also my source of COVID earlier this year. I went to see the band Big Wreck, sort of a Canadian blues rock with a little bit of a progressive kind of bent to them.
What did you think of them?
I'm sorry?
What did you think of them?
They were great. The consummate professionals. Yeah. They played their asses off that night. Unfortunately, I got home and the next day I had COVID.
Double lines, baby. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I feel you too, Naomi, on the technical difficulties for the last gig that I played, which was just about a week ago. We had so many technical difficulties on stage, like it was rough.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
How about yourself, Brent?
Oh, I would have to say one of my earliest memories is going to see David Bowie on the Glass Spider tour in 1987.
Oh, wow.
Go back and just check that setup of the stage. He had a big ass giant spider. He actually had 2 of them because he had to send one to the next city to get set up because it took so long to do it. It's just a massive scale of stuff, but he ended up burning both of them after the tour was done.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Just the sheer size and production wise,
Go back to Mars, spiders.
Like, I'm 87, so I must have been 11 years old, sitting with my dad, and just being mind.
Wow.
burn the spider sound. Didn't even try to sell them at Pink Floyd's yard sale.
Right? Amateur. That's fantastic, though. God, Vincent Bowie. Jeez.
I
That's
was
special
number
in
one
itself.
3 times seeing him.
Wow.
Jeez.
I would kill for that, honestly.
That just shows my age a little bit.
I was 1 when you were at that
Same.
concert.
I was gonna say, I was like, depending on when, I was either not in existence yet or like still trying
the
to
way.
figure out what this was.
I've got a little list here of some of my favorite concert moments. Oh boy, I've got them in little bullet point things. So I'm just like, which is no? Actually, come to think of it, Mike, you were mentioning about the Next to None tour with was Haken and Next to None, or who else was it? I don't really remember.
When I saw them, it was Earth. Was it Earthside?
No, it was Vola for me. I think it was Vola.
Oh, they're great.
Yes.
Yeah, because I saw Earthside open up for Leprous, which happened very.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was Vola.
I was at this concert and I was there with my busy mate Damien, who I go to like every gig ever with. We're like musically compatible to the point of like we're basically the same person. And there was a friend of mine also visiting from the States because he works for airlines. We get cheap flights, so he was like coming up to things. But the best bit is the gig's finished. We've all had a great time, and we're all walking past the merch desk. And I can't remember which friend of it was who said it. But Max Portnoy's there during his thing, and one of them just goes, "Hey Max, I really like your dad's band." And the look on Max Portnoy's face looked like he'd just been stung by a wasp. Furious, he was looking around trying to see who actually called him out like that. never stop laughing every time I think about that moment. It's just like literally the funniest goddamn thing that ever happened. Also, again, on the still on Haken, because I ride Haken forever because we stand.
Yep.
It was again when they were playing Crystallized. Now I positioned myself. Crystallized is literally the best thing ever in life. And I positioned myself. It's just incredible. Like holy crap. But I basically positioned myself so I was like front and center. Right. It's a fairly small club. You know, we don't get to go to big venues as prog fans. It just doesn't happen. And it was getting to the climax of the song. The gong was coming. Ross looks directly at me, right here, right in the eyes. And you know what he does? He does this. Leans down, and my heart stopped. My world is slowing down. And I'm like, this is your moment, Ian. Don't fuck this up. Don't mess it up. Whatever you do, do not mess this up. Aim. Boom. Perfect double high five as the gong hit.
Nice.
Bloody Ross Jennings. And lives in my memory rent-free forever, that moment. It was so special. I loved it. And finally, my favorite, well, I've actually got a million of these, but probably the funniest moment for me, at least, when I went to a gig. Anybody know the Norwegian band Shining with Jürgen Munkeby on saxophone?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Really. So it was Shining doing support for a co-headliner of Between the Buried and Me and Haken. And what, God, it was so funny. They're just minding their own business, Shining. You know, they're doing their set. They get towards the end of it when the whole lot of Between the Buried and Me. So you got Tommy, you got Dan, you've got like everyone else, and then you got everyone from Haken. They stage invade with a bunch of brass instruments. So they've got a tuba, they've got a trombone, they've got a trumpet, and they are playing these instruments so badly, and they're just marching around the stage taking the piss whilst they're trying to finish the song. And it was just the funniest goddamn thing. It was just like, what are they doing? What is going on? It was so amazing. I loved it so much. Good times.
Good times.
Definitely.
What about bad experiences?
Oh,
Ooh.
I got to go to Kitchener, Ontario to see the Generation Axe tour, which just sort of like a mega tour with you know, some of the top guitar players out there. You've got Tosin Abasi from Animals as Leaders, Nuno Betancourt from Extreme, Steve Vai. Who else was there? Zach Wilde. I mean, that was great. And Yngwie Malmsteen. And I'm there with my girlfriend, and she's not really like a big like prog person. She's more like power metal, symphonic metal kind of person. And I'm thinking, oh, she'll probably enjoy Yngwie Malmsteen because that's kind of his style of music, the more symphonic metal. But because this is like a sort of everybody doing their own short little set kind of tour, they didn't really play like a standard set for what you would consider each artist. So, you know, Zach Wilde did some like Black Sabbath covers. Tosin Abasi did some, you know, Animals as Leaders stuff. But Yngwie Malmsteen's set was basically just him shredding an A minor harmonic for 45 minutes. Yeah. With no musicality, just like a symphonic backing track in the back. And my girlfriend fell asleep during his set, and I was bored out of my mind. It was absolutely the worst experience I've ever seen on stage. It was only saved afterwards by all 5 musicians and their backing band playing Bohemian Rhapsody together and doing all the vocal lines on guitar. That perked us back up, but the Yngwie Malmsteen set was just no. Right. I'll never see Yngwie Malmsteen live again.
Oh boy.
Gotta be honest, I wouldn't see him live in the first place, but you know.
Fair.
If we're talking virtuosity, if it comes down between Satch versus Vi versus Malmsteen, I'm a Satch boy through and through, baby.
Yeah.
Vi. I'm a Vi guy.
That's fair.
Most of my negative experiences weren't necessarily because of the show, but like external things. Like when the first time I saw Dream Theater, it was when they were still doing their Live Nation tour, or whatever it was that they were doing. So I should have seen Big Elf, Between the Buried and Me, and Zappa Plays Zappa opening up for them. But because my brother decided until the very, very, very last minute to move, I had to help him move instead of seeing all those guys. And I was able to at least get in before we missed the Dream Theater aspect. But yeah, I'm still very and thinking about Satch. Again, this wasn't because of the show, but I saw Deep Purple the first time I saw them. Thin Lizzy and Joe Satriani were opening up for them. So great show, but halfway through Satch's set, I started to get a migraine. So by the time that Deep Purple took the stage, I was nauseous and I'm like, I can't stay for this. I have to go. So that was not so great. The only concert that I've been to where I was very disappointed about the music, like the show itself, was when I saw Baroness open up for Deaf Heaven. And it was because of the mixing. So Baroness was great. I mean, Baroness sounds muddy to begin with, so any kind of mixing they do on the stage, it sounds better than what they do on the record.
Yes.
But but the mixing that they had for Deaf Heaven was horrendous. I didn't hear a single thing that the lead singer was saying. I didn't hear a single note that the guitarist was playing. Everything was either drums or bass. And you know, Deaf Heaven is such a hugely emotional guitar led band that not hearing that was just, it was not good. It was not good.
Sucks.
Yeah, I walked away very disappointed from that show, but that was the only one out of my countless shows where I walked away disappointed. So yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm sorry. I actually have a story that's kind of similar to the yours about the migraine. I do like a good alcoholic beverage from time to time, and when my girlfriend and I went to see Sonata Arctica,
fun,
in Kitchener, we met a couple of fellow fans, and we were all having some drinks, and they offered to buy me a drink and asked what I wanted, and I said, surprise me. And they came back with several shots of tequila, and I have no memory of that evening. None.
Amazing.
Oh boy.
I think I fell asleep during the last few songs of their set.
I'm normally like, whenever I go to see anyone live, I'm just like, alcohol, no thanks. Not because I think it'll impair my ability to enjoy it. It's just that I really don't want to go for a pee during the set.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, when we saw the Musical Box do The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, the guys in front of us turned around and offered my dad, you know, the next toke on the joint. And my dad's like, I'm here with like my 13 and 12-year-old son. And they're like, oh, do they want a toke as well? He's like, no.
Hey, I took you to your first cannabis store recently. Well, we were taken to your first cannabis store recently.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, because the individual that we were staying with, her husband works at a cannabis store, so we popped in to say hi. Yeah, because it's very legal here in Canada now. And yeah,
I don't partake in the jazz cabbage myself, but
nor do I. But yeah, they popped up like Spirit Halloween stores pop up mid-September.
We have a population. I live in a small town of about 1,300, and we even have a hedge, as we call it.
Amazing. I love that.
Really?
Yeah. Here in North Bay, they have a perfect business opportunity because they have the smoke store, the weed store right beside a Taco Bell. And like, it's so simpatico that I don't know why more people aren't thinking about it. You know?
My actual worst concert story does involve smoke, actually, as a bit of a segue from that. I'm quite lucky, actually, insofar as that, like, musically, I've not been to a single bad show, so I'm really pleased about that. But again, it comes down to stage effects, my worst experience. It was when I was seeing, it was Tesseract who was supporting Periphery, who was supporting Between the Buried and Me, so very, very genty.
I
which is,
think I was at that show when they came across the pond.
very probably, yeah, because it was a bit of
Yeah.
it was like maybe 6-7 years ago, something like that, I think.
Yeah.
But let's just say the smoke machine was a little enthusiastic for Tesseract, and I saw 2 bands that night, and I heard the third one. Tesseract there playing away, and I think it was with Ash O'Hara. I don't remember. It might have been Dan Tompkins, it might have been Ash. I can't remember which one it was.
It's very similar to when I saw Periphery.
And it was just where
I heard,
a Tesseract?
I heard
They're
the
on the
first
stage,
2.
apparently.
Yeah, I heard the first 2 bands because everybody in front of me was tall, and then I saw Periphery.
Oh boy.
Amazing. But apart from that, I mean, I've not really had any bad experiences with bands, to be honest. Mostly because I don't know, I just pick and choose, really. I suppose. I mean, yeah, been lucky.
Also, speaking of Periphery, since you've seen them live too, I wonder if you share my opinion here. Best sounding live band I've ever heard.
100%. I don't know what they do, but there is some devilry going on with their mixing, and it's just ridiculous. So good.
It sounded so good. Like,
yeah,
I think what it is they actually have guitar amps and speakers on their stage. It's not all PA system. You get some stage fold back.
Yeah. I think for me, it's kind of like I'm a bit mid on Periphery. I kind of like them, but I don't love them. Like they're good, but I don't like go nuts for them or anything like that. But when they're live as a live band, they just completely transform and they become ridiculously good. Like Misha is just like such a dude. I love him.
Yeah,
he's so cool. And
I have
on stage, he's just ridiculous.
I have an affinity for Misha because like you can't really see it that well in the background, but I got a bit of a sim racing rig. Set up, so him and I like our fast cars and fast guitars. So
hell yeah.
I was gonna say I haven't heard Nathan or Naomi yet about your worst concert experience. Have you had any bad experiences?
Well, it depends. So I personally had a good experience. You see, well, you probably all know this, but when you go to a festival and you have like, I don't know, what is it, like 17, 16 bands playing, some of them are bound to be lesser, let's call it like that. Of course, you have all the newbies, the ones that are just getting into the field. They don't really know what they're doing, and it doesn't sound good, but it's pretty much balanced, by those surprises. We've had Delirium, I think, or something like that, a really obscure band, and they gave an amazing show. And there's also Blank Manuscript, which, if you don't know these guys, they're like eclectic prog. They create some really quality stuff nowadays. But I think that my biggest, it wasn't really a disappointment. Okay, it's not a bad story for me, but it's a bad story for those who were performing, or specifically for one person. So whether you know Italian prog or not, you probably know of PFM, and they were one of the main acts in the festival. So you had like each night you had your big act. So the first night we had Renaissance, amazing, loved them to bits. Annie said shit on stage and then laughed it off for like 1 minute. Then we have Steve Hackett. Who would say no to Steve Hackett playing Genesis? And then the last night was a Sunday. It was PFM, basically closing off, being the last show. And right from the get-go, there were fewer people than what you might expect. Like a lot of people just went home. They were like, okay, we can go now. And when they start performing, they immediately caught on to the fact that the crowd wasn't really as rowdy for them as those other bands. And specifically, when I say them, I mean Franz Di Coccio. I think that's his name. He's the vocalist and the drummer for the band right now. And the set list that they played was mainly their newest album. I think it's called like I Dreamed of Electric Sheep or something like that.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I didn't listen to that album beforehand. And as I got it, not a lot of people are too fussed like about it. It's not really a masterpiece. And they played most of it, and we were like standing there just kind of waiting for the classic tracks to come on, and they just didn't. And the thing is that Franz really got frustrated with us, and he's like sitting at the back of the stage on the drums. And you can see that he's getting frustrated because we're all just standing there like waiting for the classics. And then he suddenly just leaves the drum in the middle of a song, so you suddenly get like an acoustic version or something like that, I don't know. And he goes up to the front of the stage and he's like, clap, clap, and he does like that, you know, just start clapping, people, start enjoying the show. And it was so in a way pathetic. And yeah, and they needed to do the anchor, but we were like, everyone was so about to leave and not call them back that they just kind of
crikey.
called themselves back, performed celebration, and then finished the show. So
Awkward.
yeah, it was a bit awkward.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh,
Great
Well,
memory
that's
though.
such a shame though.
Jeez. Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
for me, same thing. I haven't really seen a band that's disappointed me. Pretty much all the shows I've been to, I've really enjoyed. For me, it's more the external factors and I go to a lot of concerts with my dad. That's kind of what we do together. He likes to go to concerts, and I'm always nervous because I'm trying to pick the right kind of concert for him, because he doesn't like things that are too heavy. He doesn't want to have to stand all night at a show. I need to pick a seated show, So those are always things I'm nervous about when we go to a show and circumstances aren't quite as he would like, and he'll like yell at people to like sit down who are in front of us who are standing.
I do that.
Or there was one, I think it was maybe that Prog Nation one with Dream Theater that we saw. There were people behind us that were just loudly singing along to like every song, like drunkenly, just like singing every word. And my dad just turned around and was like, "Can you guys please be quiet so we can hear this?"
Yeah. We didn't pay all this money to listen to you sing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like, you wouldn't sing along with a Broadway musical. Why the hell would you do it here?
Oh boy. Yeah.
people drunkenly singing. You could have just at me next time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy.
Easy.
Oh. Yeah.
I remember seeing
Must have
Korn
something.
many years ago. I think they were promoting Issues,
Oh,
and
old school.
yeah.
It's my teenage years right there, man.
So I was down in the mosh pit, and this person, I don't even remember if it was a guy or a girl, came around, their boot kicked me in the side of the nose, and instant blood.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've never seen security run to a location faster than that. Like, I thought it was the end of the world. Like, they were going to haul everybody's ass out, and they're just freaking out. And it really ruined the concert for me, because like,
That's a shame.
people are having fun. I'm
Yeah.
not upset about it. I'm going to the bathroom. My nose isn't broken.
Yeah.
Like, it was just
Oh boy. Yeah.
too much of a downer.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
a shame.
You know?
Oh boy.
God, Korn though, jeez, I would have loved to see them when I was like 14, 15, and I was just like, Korn is like the coolest band in the world. I was like, it's so cool. Jonathan Davies in the bagpipes, so cool.
Oh, and that's
I
he opened with that. Like, the whole place is dark, and he was doing, I think his song's called Dead.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
The beginning of it, and wow.
I still think Korn are great.
They're a
you
lot of
know,
fun. I
them
do
and-
love to go back to them. You
them
know?
and Deftones, I still kind of follow.
Deftones.
Just, you know,
Deftones have never been bad. Let's be fair. They've
Maybe a
always
bit of a
been
controversial statement, but I think Korn are a little more progressive oriented than people give them credit for.
Oh yeah, I
That's
mean, if you
fair.
take like the
That's
new
fair.
metal movement and you parallel, like, I don't know, Limp Bizkit to Korn, you know,
Oh,
it's
I
just
don't
like
know.
night and day. It's
Yeah.
like
See,
one of
I'm-
them is Fred
I'm-
Durst being a
like a
knob
joke.
jockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a soft spot for Limp Bizkit. They were one of my teen angst filled
Oh,
ones. But there's
same.
there's a lot of like progressive tendencies in the new metal wave, like Tool, and I mean, Tool was a little before that, but like System of a Down was lumped in with the new metal wave back in the day, and I'm like, these guys are super progressive. What are you guys talking about?
Love System of a Down.
You know?
I will
Yeah.
actually just give a quick sort of recommendation to people here. It's kind of like there's almost sort of like a semi-revival kind of going on with new metal at the moment. And if you guys haven't listened, if you've got any sort of interest in that kind of music, Celebrity Therapist by the Callous Dowboys. Get on that.
Hmm.
The Callous
Holy-
Dowboys.
Unbelievable record.
Great name.
Absolutely
I mean,
unbelievable.
I'm sold
record.
just for the name alone.
You know,
Slight spoilers for my top 15 is all I'm saying. Only a slight spoiler though, because it's
Oh,
not number
boy.
one, but it's unreal. And I'm gonna call it now Star Baby, the final track off that record, Song of the Year. Just
I am
hands down my
trying
song
to-
of the year.
Is it Stylus Cowboys or
Callous Dowboys.
Callous
Cowboys?
Down. I'm
I'll send
looking
you
at the album cover.
the Wikipedia article.
Beautiful. I am going to look that up.
I'm looking at the album cover, and
record.
the cover for it looks like Francis the Mute.
Yeah.
paired
Yeah.
with,
It's got a bit of a vibe. of it.
But what's that
Okay,
called? I think the
okay.
Muse album. Looks like the two of them. I love it whenever they put like those
If you
sacks
like
over the
sort of,
heads and do the Rene
yeah.
Magritte thingy.
But if you like the whole sort of like really unapologetically savage, brutal music, oh my
Oh,
god,
I
it's
see.
hard to beat it. It's so good.
I
Ooh,
don't know
it's
what
short
I like.
too.
Yeah, I'm
Beautiful.
obsessed with it. It's such a good record.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's on Bandcamp. There we go.
Yeah. Definitely give it a spin and try not to fall in love with Star Baby too much like I have, because it changed my life. That song,
Oh,
so good,
boy.
unbelievable.
They have a version on cassette.
Oh, hey,
there you go.
There you
What
go.
more
There we
excuse do
go.
you need?
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll be hearing a lot more about that when I get my my top 15 video
Yeah.
out later on, which I'm working on at the
Okay.
moment.
Let's do something fun. Who here
yes.
thinks that Uriah Heep needs to be inaugurated into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh,
100% yes.
Are
Yeah.
they up for nomination?
So we have a petition apparently, and I'm just looking at
Okay.
it, and it needs to reach 5,000 signatures, and it's like 4,600 and something. So
Is that
if you
the
feel
Sea-
like it,
Sea of Tranquility one?
yeah, they just shared it. It's almost there, so it's
Oh.
not like
I'm not the
Not my
hugest
affinity.
fan of the band. Like I've never really spent much time listening to their music, but they deserve it. I mean,
yeah.
they're classic.
They're,
Oh, yeah.
they're
I'm surprised to hear they aren't already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Mhm.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is such a, I won't say it, but yeah.
Yeah, we won't use those kind of words here.
No, I mean,
It's a family channel.
Uriah Heep's, their first, dozen albums are brilliant. I don't know if
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys are familiar with them. Check them out. None of them
Yeah. Like everything from Salisbury Hill all the way to Wizards and Demons. Just like A+. I think one of the proggiest tracks is from Look at Yourself. Trying to remember. It's like November something or other.
I know one you mean, but I don't know.
Yeah,
the name,
it's
but-
like 12 minutes of just pure bliss. I always felt like if like Deep
July
Purple,
morning.
maybe it's July Morning.
I know it's the longest one.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, July Morning.
That's what I'm seeing on Wikipedia.
Yeah, if Deep Purple decided to go more prog rather than into more like
Bluesy
blues rock, then you get Uriah Heep. So yeah, and I love Deep Purple. They're one of my favorites. So
Same.
Oh yeah.
They were pretty much my gateway into heavy metal music, because like when my dad was
Mm-hmm.
raising me as a young lad,
Yep.
I had like two sort of like schools of music going on. There was like my mum's side, who was like ABBA, and she was stuff like Hot Chocolate, and basically a lot of like Motown stuff from my mum's side and that sort of thing, very much pop music.
Really
And then
cool.
on my dad's side, you had Fleetwood Mac, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Jethro Tull, Pink Floyd. So all the prog stuff came from my dad's side, and all the pop stuff came from my mum's side. You sort of mashed the two together, and somewhere my heavy metal love came from that. I don't know how, but it did. You knew if you mashed ABBA and Deep Purple together, you'd get Ghost.
yeah,
Wow.
essentially.
I mean,
You do.
Oh boy. Yeah. I would love to hear some people favorite albums of this year that weren't prog related.
Sure.
Like I know, I'm
actually
so
have
sorry.
one.
let me have
Oh,
that.
you do?
I have one.
Because I've currently fallen in love with Wise Blood, the latest
Yes!
album that came
What-
out
what-
this. I know, I'm sorry. Her album and In the Darkness Hearts Aglow, I have not been able to stop listening to. It's just so pretty. It's like
Yeah.
Kate Bush in modern times.
Yeah.
It's
You switched me onto that so much so to the point where I've literally bought it for my mum for Christmas, because I think she'll absolutely love it.
yeah, it's so good. That's my recommendation of the day.
Jeez. Okay, before someone else steals it, yeah, I'm also gonna say Wayne's Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So as you might know, I really didn't have time to get into new music, and if I got into something, it wasn't from 2022 because that's a paradox, you know. But Wayne's Blood, I saw a video on YouTube of someone like talking about her album, the one that came before, I think, like with Andromeda and stuff like that.
Something Titanic, is
And
it?
Yeah, Titanic Rising.
yeah,
That's the
Titanic
one.
Rising. Yeah, so I was blown away by it. I did listen to her latest one, but honestly, because I just discovered her, like right now, I've been just listening to Titanic Rising over and over again in between albums, and wow, I'm blown away by this type of music. It's actually somehow encapsulating, you know, the same vibe that existed once and doesn't really get represented anymore, at least not in an authentic way, I guess. I don't know how she just manages to, you know, get that
Yeah.
sound, and you hear those influences, you know, the Paul McCartney and the Beach Boys, and yeah, the Kate Bush, as you said.
So
Yeah.
good.
Wow,
Yeah.
what an amazing artist.
Yeah, it's reminding me of what Spelling did last year with her album. But yeah, this album, the second track of Children of the Empire is like one of my top 10 tracks of this year, probably top 5.
Wow.
It's a fire record. It's so
Love
so
it.
good.
So good.
So non-prog. Well, I got two. One of them, the new Korn record,
Oh, I haven't listened to that yet.
another cassette. Yeah, it's just good classic Korn, but I also find that they, like, because they've had so much time off because of the pandemic, like, I don't know, it feels fresh. And I am also really a fan of Jonathan Davis's vocals on this record. Like, he did a fantastic job. I remember there was a time when he just wasn't a singer. Now he's one of the better ones. The other one that really surprised me outside of the prog realm is an EP, and it's Portals by Kirk Hammett, the guitar player from Metallica.
I forgot that
And
existed.
That EP is really fantastic. Like, it's nothing like Metallica. It's instrumental. It's got a very like soundtrack kind of vibe to it, like very Ennio Morricone kind of spaghetti western kind of vibe in a couple of tracks. And I mean, there is guitar soloing going on, but it isn't a shred record, even though it's a guitar player's solo album. But it's just really cool, like, to hear his compositions on this EP. And that was one of the releases this year that really surprised me, because like I grew up on Metallica, but to hear Kirk Hammett in this completely different context, but still be identifiable as Kirk Hammett, it was great. So that'd be my recommendation. Check that EP out.
Yeah, I've got to echo Travis on that one. I listened to it a couple of times, but I legitimately forgot I even listened to it. But now that you've reminded me it existed, I was like, oh yeah, that was actually pretty good. I remember that now.
Yeah, I have to echo the Wise Blood as well for me. I also really like the Tears for Fears record that came out earlier this year. I thought it was really good. So that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I keep getting recommended that one over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Arcade Fire's We.
Yeah, that's good.
Solid.
Got a couple. I don't tend to listen to a lot of stuff outside of like, I mean, I suppose it depends what you call like prog really at this point. So let's just go for a couple of things I know definitely wouldn't even be prog adjacent. Band I grew up on, like kind of in my teenage years, got exposed to them through the video game Max Payne. Any of you guys remember Poets of the Fall with the Late Goodbye? Do you remember that song from back on Max Payne? They're still going. They're still going. And their new record, Ghostlight, really struck me. It's a lot of fun. There's some really good rock. If you want some just like good alt rock, it's just really fun. Like the vocals are still incredibly solid, really powerful. Great sense of melody throughout the entire record. It's just so much fun. It's like it's an uncomplicated listen, but it's just so much fun. Like you can just put it on, enjoy it. It's really good, decent sort of like house party music. You know, it's uncomplicated and pretty much anybody can enjoy it. And I really loved it for that. But in terms of something like a bit softer, but not prog. Ethel Cain's Preacher's Daughter really struck a chord with me. I love that.
That is a heavy record.
Yeah, it is.
It's a
Yeah,
very
it
heavy, and
is.
not like heavy in terms of like metal heavy, even though it kind of is, but like heavy in terms of subject matter.
Oh,
I had to take a really long hot bath after listening to that record.
It's so good though. It was one of those ones that was like on the peripheral of being on my honorable mentions, but I was just like, there's too many things came out this year which were fighting for spots on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing a mad dash to the finish line, trying to get all the rest of my reviews out before the year ends. I'm like, I'm gonna have to do like 2 or 3 quarter notes just to get the rest of these records done.
What's everybody's first kind of holiday memory of maybe music they got as a gift?
Ooh, now
I'll
that's a
start
question.
because I'm old. There was no such things as CDs. It was only records and tapes. But I got a cassette tapes of these 2 Police albums.
Ooh, nice.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that's probably my first memory. And I had a little Fisher Price brown tape recorder that I carried around all the time. I probably annoyed everybody in your age of that with that Police album.
Oh,
Very
boy.
first. Wow. That would probably be when I got my copy of Metallica's S&M on CD back in Christmas '99.
Oh, wow, I am.
Yeah, I still have it too. It's
One of the
still
best live
sitting on a
concerts
shelf.
ever.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
unbelievable. That record's so good.
I have 2, and I'm trying to remember which one came first because they both I know I got both of these at Christmas, and they were about a year apart from one another. And I want to say the first year I got a black Sony boombox that was just a tape player. And the tape that I got with it was the soundtrack to Sailor Moon. So I want to say that was probably 94, which would have meant 95 or 96 was when I got my red Sony Walkman tape player, because my dad had enough of listening to tapes over and over and over again. And he got me Weird Al's Bad Hair Day, and I still have the
nice.
tape sitting on my and I played that one so much that even my dad knew all the words to all the songs from that.
Fighting evil by moonlight,
Yeah.
in love by daylight.
Oh, yeah. So
Classic.
yeah,
Classic.
it was great. I wasn't allowed a whole lot of to indulge some of my less than conventional side of things, but for some reason Sailor Moon was just fine. So I got to listen to a lot of Sailor Moon.
Incredible.
I think mine is a little bit more embarrassing, I suppose, and is more indicative of who I was as a young boy. When given free reign with Christmas money, it's a very dangerous thing to allow a 8-year-old, I think I was, 8, 9, something like that. Free reign in a record store. So here I am, fresh, Christmas money in my pocket, Belgian francs at the time. Can't remember how much it was. It's like 500 francs was like 10 quid or something like that. But went to the record store. Whole slew of everything available in front of me. And what does 8-year-old me walk away from that record store with? The very first thing I ever purchased for myself, Aqua's bloody album. Dr. Jones, Barbie Girl, the whole shebang.
That's a stellar record. I still have it. I have the tape.
I jammed
But I
to
mean,
that.
a couple of years later, there's me buying Master of Puppets, and I've got Aqua on the shelf, and then next to it, bloody puppets. Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah, I still have that tape up at the cottage too, which is hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, I loved it back in the day so much.
Yeah, and again, that was another one that I played so much that my dad knew all the words to, which helped him out when he was in a hypnotist show and he had to lip sync all of Barbie Girl, and he knew all the words. So it was great. It was great.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably one of my early ones, I think my dad got me like a CD player when I was pretty young, and he's a huge Beatles fanatic, so he had to include the Beatles. It was like the red and blue compilation albums, like 1962 to 65, and then 66, and 67 to 70 or whatever. So those were probably some of the first early CDs I had, along with like Disney and Animaniacs soundtrack and things like that when I was a kid. But yeah, that was the first like real like quality music that I had that my dad was sharing with me even at a young age.
It's pretty fire. That is very, very cool.
Yeah. Mine, so I never really got, first of all, in this time of year, we don't celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Hanukkah, baby. And it's different around here because like as I get it, like at least in Europe and America, they sort of do the same traditions with giving gifts and stuff like that. Definitely not what we do around here. We just eat stuff with a bunch of oil in it and we have a good time doing so. And so yeah,
Sounds
no
good to me.
gifts, no gifts around this time of year. But if there's one story that I just feel like I'm obligated to tell. So I was doing my mandatory army service, and there are certain rules that you have to follow, and one of them is that you can't hitchhike, you can't take rides with anyone, which is important. And the thing is, it was all good and all, but to get to my base, I literally had to do. And if I didn't take a ride, I was technically passing like the law. So, just choose which law you want to break today. And so it was a pretty funny thing. I got into this ride, and they were like, "Okay, we can drive you." And then suddenly the car stops, and they're like, "Why did you take this ride?" And I'm like, "Oh my God. Okay, this is the end. This is the end. What are you guys doing?" Apparently, they were undercover cops. Best day of my life. So I was, I was given like a in military trial, and I was certain I was gonna get like prison time for it. I was really anxious about it. I didn't get prison time. I was just in detention for a month, which wasn't any
jeez.
better. But my lovely partner decided to buy me a record for when I got back home. And yeah, she gave me a record that you might not know. It's called like the 16th Lamb, and it's in Hebrew. It's a children's, like, it's a compilation. Well, not really a compilation, but it's a record with children's songs on it, but it's appealing to grown-ups as well. And the thing is, it's made like by 6 musicians that got together to create this one, and they all have progressive rock backgrounds. And they just incorporated into the music, and like literally an entire, like, let's call it 3 generations here grew up on this record being played at their kindergartens, and it's the coolest thing in the world, and I would love to recommend it to
16
everyone. But
lamb?
the 16th Lamb, yeah.
16th lamb.
Yeah,
Huh,
and it's
interesting.
like I would recommend it to everyone, but the thing is, like, understanding the lyrics is not integral, but it just, it does the effect. And it's really hard to translate this over, but it's the first record she got me, and I was ecstatic.
I have heard this record,
Oh, you
actually,
have?
surprisingly.
Wow. It is a classic, though.
I actually digitized a cassette copy of it for someone associated through my day job, because they were they getting old, their cassette players weren't working anymore, so they're just like, here, I have a bunch of old like Hebrew children's songs on cassette, and I want them digitized. And I believe that was the album, because I remember listening to it thinking, this sounds very proggy for children's music.
It is. It's very prog, and just everyone grew up in it, and that's like everyone that tells you around here, like, no, I don't know what prog is. Oh, you definitely know. Oh, you definitely know.
And
That's really cool.
the sleeve was all in Hebrew. I couldn't read any of it.
Yeah.
Tried
And
to
there's-
translate all the titles into English for
Yeah, there's like a typo on the sleeve, and they haven't fixed it since the 70s, despite it getting like new releases, and I don't know why they're doing that.
couldn't find it on Discogs or anything like that. I had to do like deep research to find anything about it. So
That's pretty good.
it might
That is
not have
very
been
cool.
16th Lamb, but it was definitely, I remember it was a Hebrew cassette of
it
children's
might-
music that sounded surprisingly proggy. So that's kind of cool. We have that connection
That
there.
is awesome. That is very, very cool.
Yeah.
So what about like more recent like holiday prog or music ideas? Like do you guys have any gifts that you've received already this year or last year that
I had a couple. last year, I think it was, my partner got me the full color spectrum from the Deer Hunter, which has been a pain in the ass to get a hold of. Out of print for a very, very, very long time. And finally, it's like been something I've been wanting for so long. And when I unwrapped that, I was like, oh, little squeak of joy. And a few years prior to that, they got me the deluxe collector's edition of the Retinal Circus from Devin Townsend as well, like the full big unfolding box with the Devin Townsend mask and everything, and the big art booklet and everything. Oh my god! Limited edition, like X number of like 2,000, I think, copies only ever. And that's the thing I can't bloody find. I want to hold it up and be like, "Hello, look at me! It's Devin Townsend wearing masks." But it's somewhere in my cupboard over there, and I was just like throwing things around the room earlier trying to find it. I was like, "God damn it, it's here somewhere." But both of those times, I was just like, oh, "You do know me." Oh, very special, very special.
Well, as for myself, this is kind of a special story, a bit of a Christmas miracle even. So 10 years ago, I was living in a really awful part of town, and I got broken into and lost everything, all my guitars, my laptop, all kinds of stuff. And about a month ago, one of the guitars that I saw, or that was stolen, I saw it on Facebook Marketplace. And I was shook, of course, because like that's my guitar. Anyway, my boss bought it for me. Just a really basic Strat copy Vester brand. It's not even like although like the attention to detail, like they actually tried to make it look like a Fender headstock. But yeah, it was just really cool to like get my old stolen guitar back, and my boss bought it for me as sort of my Christmas bonus this year. So that was, thank you, Heather.
That's neat. That's I'm pretty happy for you.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I remember seeing posting about that on Twitter. I was like, oh my god, that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, like
it's like, what are the chances of that actually happening?
What are
it's kind of crazy.
And the guy that sold it clearly wasn't the guy who broke into my place. So it's definitely changed hands a few times.
Yeah, unfortunate. I technically got a gift right now, like a music gift from myself from the past. So yeah. So as I started doing the series this year, the tea is getting to my head. So as I started doing the series this year, I immediately encountered some really good albums, and I think the first 10 out of 10 album that I reviewed on the series had to be Illusions on a Double Dimple by Triumvirate, for anyone who knows. Yeah. I gave it a 9. I gave it a 9 back then. It has certainly shifted itself up to a 10, maybe even an 11. Really good album, and it was my only vinyl purchase this year. But the thing is, I couldn't find anywhere here that sold or had the record, so I just, I gave up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna order it from Discogs, and I gave up after I was in Germany, and I looked for like 2 days and couldn't find it even in its originating country. So I just ordered it from Discogs, and then I waited and I waited and I just kept on waiting, and it never seemed to arrive. They didn't have a tracking number for some reason. The seller had none, and I just kind of lost hope for it. And then then I suddenly, my landlady, she gets all the like notifications on mail that we get around here, and she just kind of didn't want to inform me that I have mail. So I basically got like the last notification. They were like, okay, if you're not picking this right now, it's going back to Germany. Okay, just forget about it. And I got them, and I was like, oh my god, okay. And I called the mail, and I was like, okay, I'm coming, just yeah. And and I got to the mail, and I was like, okay, this is the number, this is, just please get me my record before you send it back. And then they were like starting to search it, and a minute goes by, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and I'm like, it's gone, it's absolutely gone. It's not gone.
Hey.
It's there, but
Magic.
it was the most stressful thing in my entire life, and I got it, and I've
I
been playing it
felt that
over
anxiety.
and over. It was such a bad thing because I didn't know. I just simply didn't know where it was, and that it just got like I think 2 days ago. So technically, it's a gift from myself.
There you go.
That's
Oh,
excellent.
that's great. That's so good. Yeah, I love that record. It's one of my all-time favorites. That one
I
and
haven't
Old Love
heard
Dies.
it.
Yeah, same
that
here, but
I
That
put it on
and-
my to listen to list immediately.
Same.
yeah, that one and Old Love Dies Hard. Those two records from, I mean, all of Turtle and Frat's records are great. Basically, they're the German version of Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yeah,
Oh, sick,
Um,
awesome.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I love them.
I'll probably go and listen to that later tonight.
I'm gonna listen to Spartacus. I think it's the second to last episode of the series at Spartacus.
Yeah, that's my dad's favorite record from them. It's not my favorite. It's fine, but definitely no Old Love Dies Hard or Illusion on a Double Dimple. That's just my own take. That's just my own thing. I know people love that record. It's just it's fine. It's fine.
For me, I got my record player like a few years ago. So for that Christmas, after I got my record player, my wife bought me one of my favorite records on vinyl. That I wanted to show.
Whirlwind. Amazing.
So
Such a
bring
good
that
record.
full circle. And my dad also bought me updated Beatles record and Abbey Road
Hell yeah.
35th
Yeah.
anniversary edition. So that's basically what I get now is the different vinyl records that I ask for. And my dad also got me a guitar that I just recently got.
Oh,
So
wow.
Nice.
I never had an electric guitar. I had an acoustic when I was younger and took some lessons, but it's my first time with an electric guitar. So
Oh, fantastic. You'll have a blast
ready
with
to
that.
shred.
yeah, I
I
gotta
have
gotta
an
learn some
acoustic
stuff.
upstairs, and I've got 5 basses. So
Wow.
yeah.
Let's see, 1, 2,
They're not
3,
here; they're downstairs. But
I got a ukulele bass.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, basses are great fun.
I've got a ukulele, but that's about. I'm the odd one out. I'm not actually a musician. so-
I'm counting
Oh,
my guitars right now.
I've got basses. I never said I was a good musician.
Definitely not a musician.
And do you play much, Ian?
I play them a bit, yeah. Nothing to like an particularly impressive level, but I can play some Pink Floyd songs start to finish without even thinking about it. Usual classics like Play the Chain by Fleetwood Mac with the, nothing particularly flashy. I'm not exactly going to challenge Dan Briggs or anything anytime soon for virtuosity. I'm not exactly John Mayung or anything like that. Let's put it that way. But
Right.
I know my way around. I know my way around the
I got 9 electrics,
Ooh.
3 of which are 7 strings, 1 of which is an
Oh.
8 string. I've got 3 basses, a 4-string, 2 4-string fretted, and a 6-string fretless.
Nice.
3 acoustic guitars, a nylon string, a steel string, and a 12-string. A violin, which intimidates the crap out of me, and double bass, like the big,
Oh, wow.
the big
Oh,
violin.
wow. And no extra space in your house.
Yeah. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, yeah.
In order to put up the Christmas tree this year, I actually have to move my entire guitar collection, which that's becoming a sticking point in our household right now.
I just suggest to just wrap the lights around the
Right.
There you go.
and then you're good.
Yeah, the double
Christmas
bass.
Yeah,
Christmas double bass. Who needs a tree?
put the presents under the Ibanez,
Yeah, it's
go.
classic. It's a holiday
fine.
tradition, and if it isn't, it should be one.
Start it.
Oh boy. Yeah. I actually had to think long and hard about this. This was the first question that didn't come immediately to my mind because my family learned early on it's probably best not to buy me music because chances are I probably already have it. There was one year when I was like, I don't know, like 18 or 19, and my mom got me the final cut from Pink Floyd. And she was like really happy about it too, because she's like, well, I know this is one of your favorite bands, and the clerk at the record store assured me you wouldn't have this one, and I'm like, Mom, I have 2 copies of this already. I'm so sorry. He's
What's
like,
the third
okay. Okay,
Oh,
okay.
bless.
Or they'll take what I ask for and just get it like almost there. Like when Genesis back in I think 2007 was re-releasing all their albums like with a new remix, like a new mix. I asked my dad for the live CD box set, and this is the only prop I got. He got me the green box, which
Hey.
is great. It's great. It covers their 1970 to 1975 studio records.
Mhm.
It's not the live box, but it's great. And my dad's like, but this is the one with Supper's Ready on it. I'm like, I know. I wanted the one that had the rainbow session Supper's Ready. So I had to go out and buy myself this box the next day.
Nice.
So
You know what they say
yeah.
though? It's the thought that counts.
It's always the thought that counts. I love it because it gives me a really good story after the
Yeah.
fact. And honestly, this was one of the best gifts that I ever got because the mix on this is so good.
Yeah, they're
Like
all
it's
all those-
so good. Oh yeah. And like the bonus disc that it came with, the all the demos and whatnot that have it. Yeah, it was the gift that kept on giving, and the
Hmm.
DVD editions on them, like, it was like listening to it for the first time. So yeah,
That's pretty cool.
I'll show you guys the best music related Christmas gift I ever got. It was actually from another friend of ours. I'm trying to remember how to pronounce his last name, but he goes by Matthew Caveat Zealot on Facebook
Mhm.
and Twitter. And I got this, the King Crimson
Ooh.
Discipline transcriptions from him.
Wow.
Ah,
He just
Nice.
asked me, what do you want for Christmas? And yeah, and I mean, this is the scariest sheet music book I've ever.
If you need
I-
like 2 books for frame by frame or something like that.
It's like,
yeah. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they put that like the note sheet like 20 yards ahead and just shotgun it. It's like that's what it
That's pretty
is.
much how they wrote Discipline.
Yeah. Good enough, that'll do. What do you think
That'll
doesn't
do.
make any sense? Just do it.
But yeah, I think that was one of the best gifts because I didn't expect that, especially from someone like I've never met in person, and he's a good friend, and
You'll have
Yeah.
to send him a Nick Mason autobiography or something.
oh yeah, he loves Nick Mason so much.
I will admit though, one of my best gifts was last year when Brent, you got me the best of David Bowie. Like what was it? Both Worlds, best of both. No, I'm thinking of Marillion. Anyway, it was the most recent best of at that time, which goes reverse chronological order.
Yeah.
Which was a brilliant way of listening to Bowie's stuff, because outside of I think Ziggy Stardust and the Space Oddity, like I've never really listened to any Bowie stuff outside of like the hits. So this was a great way of getting into them. And yeah, I was like blown away. I'm like, this is incredible. Holy jeez.
It's a good selection of his stuff.
It's a great, yeah.
Hunky Dory, best Bowie album. Don't fight me on this because you'll lose.
Oh, no. Low is the best Bowie album.
Oh, boy.
I love Low, but I stand Hunky Dory for like forever. I love it so much.
I actually really enjoyed his last one, Black Star.
Yes,
Wow,
Black Star
that
was
was
really
wonderful.
good.
It was amazing.
It was
Like I was,
heartbreaking though as well because you knew that he knew he was dying.
yeah, but maybe that's what lent so much emotional weight to the record.
Oh,
Like
100% it
Damn.
did.
I was never really huge into Bowie until I heard Lazarus from that record, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I was blown away. I didn't realize Bowie was like that deep.
Oh yeah.
Did
I've-
anyone
I've-
notice that it has like a 4.49 rating on the Prog Archives
Mhm.
and like 400 and
Mhm.
something ratings?
Yeah.
It's like
crazy.
consistently upvoted by everyone, and
Yeah.
it certainly is a great record. I remember just seeing that, and I'm like, of course, I saw it when I heard of the news, and I was like watching the clip for not Lazarus. Was it Lazarus?
I
There's
think
like-
so.
track,
Oh no!
maybe?
Oh yeah, there's the title track, like the really long
Mhm.
one, and the really
Oh,
yeah,
and then
okay,
there's
it was-
Lazarus where he's like in the closet. and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and I saw the clip for that, and I was like
Who was
crying.
it?
I was bawling my eyes out because, like,
Mhm.
okay, I was just given the news and suddenly dropped
Mm.
this, and oof, such a great record, such an amazing thing. Honestly, something that I need to get into my collection. I just don't have it yet.
Same.
Yeah, it was a surreal time. I remember getting that album, and then like 2 days later, he announced he was dead. And
Yeah.
I remember listening to him on the couch.
2016 was a bad year for music in that respect. Like, holy
Yeah.
crap, it was
Yeah.
rough. It's like, oh god damn it, people, please stop dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to scoot very soon, boys and girls. So just putting that out there. Gotta scoot
okay,
soon.
I'm thinking maybe we
Aw.
wrap it up with one more thing.
Sure.
Sure.
I remember we were talking about the idea of Christmas miracle wishes.
Mm.
Yes,
And
that was
I'm
my
thinking,
idea.
yeah, I love that idea so much. I thought it was an amazing
It's a good
idea.
one.
Yeah. So I'm thinking if we all could have one musical wish that would happen next year, what would it be? And it could be anything. Anything is within the realms of possibility here.
Oh crap!
But you only get one. That's the kicker. You get one.
Hmm.
Okay, I know what's mine. I know
Okay.
what's mine.
Okay.
Maybe I'm being just naive because I don't know their entire discography, but I need a Beard Fish reunion like right now. Like,
Yes.
right freaking now, please.
Very
Yes.
good.
Just
I'm
take.
glad you said that, Naomi, because now I don't need to say it.
Yeah, just please do that. I'm unwilling to think that I'll, pass on from this world without hearing them live, and I need it to happen sooner than later. And
Yeah.
2023 is a great time for doing so. So, if anyone from Beardfit is watching this video,
Yeah. Rickard Solbloom, please.
Yeah.
yeah, Rickard Solomon, just big train. What were you thinking to yourself? Go back to Beardfit.
Make it happen, please. God, honestly. Mine came down to a choice between two, really. And I have to think to myself, which of these would make me happier than anything else? And it could only really be one of these choices. So I've got a few syllables for you. Him, La, Bakken, Volume 2.
Yeah.
They're working on it. They have
Come
like
on
6 tracks
already!
already. They have like
Yeah.
6 tracks already.
They're
I
so
want it
close.
so badly. I'm so jonesing for that record. It's like, come
I,
on.
I stopped following them on their Facebook page because it was like destroying my hopes
Yeah.
every single
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Like, we're almost there. We're almost
We're
there.
almost
I know,
there,
it's
guys.
Every year they keep teasing, yeah, we're nearly there, mate, nearly there. And I'm like, come on already.
Come on, let's go.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my Christmas miracle. I just want him back in Volume 2 so
Yeah.
badly. Come on, Moon
Yeah.
Safari. Pull the lead
Yeah.
out.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
that's yeah. That changed my Christmas miracle.
Sorry,
Proto
Naomi
Men.
changed mine because I was going to go with the fish as well at first.
The
Yeah.
Proto Men finally releasing Act
Ooh.
3.
Oh,
That's-
okay.
That's been my placeholder album of the year for the last 10 years. Because I know when that album comes out, it's my album of the year.
Oh,
Like, I have that much faith in the Proto Men. Like, Act 1 was great, but Act 2, one of my favorite records of all time. And the 2 singles that they released way back in 2016 that were supposed to be on Act 3, like pure 80s pop rock worship.
Yep.
And it's just so epic. And I know when that album comes out, it's gonna change my life. So please, Proto Men, get on that. Act 3, 2023. I will give it album of the year, guaranteed.
I want new IQ.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want new Peter Gabriel.
That one's coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
coming. And I want new Gazpacho.
Oh,
Gazpacho would be good.
can't come
yes.
soon enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just as a kind of because I don't know where they are, Anathema's. what
Oh,
do
the
you
weather
get?
systems.
Daniel
weather
Kavanagh.
systems.
Yeah,
Needs to see the light of day.
yeah,
That
Yeah.
would be great.
yeah. That would be good. If you're looking for something that will itch that scratch in the meantime, the new The Indifferent Stars by Haven of Echoes.
That
It
is
scratches that itch quite nicely. It's very in that Anathema weather systems.
Oh,
Great
yeah, I know
call.
it now. Yeah.
I have 2, and I'm going to lean more towards one because the ripple fallout effect of the other one would be too devastating to think of the consequences. The one that I'm going for is that Genesis would have recorded the entire, which I'm pretty sure they did. They should like master and release the the tour that they did with Bill Bruford on the Seconds Out tour, because they only have Cinema Show on the Seconds Out album proper, but that also goes to
version.
But that also goes to show that they recorded more tracks with Bill Bruford as the second drummer of Genesis, and I want to hear that whole show from start to finish. I want to hear what Bill did with Robbery, Assault, and Battery. I want to hear what he did with and all the deeper cuts as well, like Fountains of Semelix, and all that would be my one wish. The other one, and the more I think about it, the more I don't know if I would really want it.
You have to tell us now after the setup.
I know.
Can't leave us hanging like that.
This was my cheat, right? This is how I could get two by stringing you along. Is that Dream Theater went with Marco Minimum rather than
Yes.
But
100% agreed.
The more I think about it, the fallout, because Marco wouldn't have been available for The Raven That Refused to Sing.
That's true.
And cannot erase. And I think it would have driven Marco insane because he loves to put his own personality and his own signature in the sounds. And Dream Theater was looking for somebody just to kind of be a yes man for the first couple of albums.
He's more than just a drummer. Like he's a very competent guitar player too. Like
he's a Foley musician. He wanted to be fully integrated into the band. And I don't think Dream Theater were ready for another individual like that at that time.
I think Mangini was the right way to go.
The more I think about it, the more I realize Mangini was probably a better fit at that time and going forward. But just to think about the Dream Theater music we could have gotten with Marco,
it would have been incredible.
But like Fallout parallel universe that would have created, because we would have had
actually. My second Christmas miracle would be like if Mike Portnoy would join Dream Theater on stage at all. Like
I can see that.
Even just to play like Metropolis once with them on stage in 2023, just to have that, because everybody in the band has gotten over whatever their problem with Mike Portnoy was. And, they're all on good terms now. There's no physical reason that can't happen.
I think it will. Give it time. That will.
I think it will.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's just for
the real reason, though, and I'm pretty convinced this is the reason why they chose Mangini over everyone else, and I'm very much certain this is very much the case, 100% serious here, they didn't have to learn a new name.
That's true. It's always Mike.
It just made it easier for everybody. You got John Petrucci's there, like, I'm not learning a new name. I'm very busy.
What's your name? I'm Mike. Oh, you're hired.
Perfect. That'll do. It's good enough.
They already started with two Kevins and made one of them change his name.
That's it.
And two Johns.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Two Kevins, two Johns.
There's two Johns.
That, and also Mike Mangini didn't need to learn any of the music. He already knew all the tracks, whereas I think Marco went in completely blind. He's like, I know of you guys, but I've never actually sat down and listened to you guys before.
Wow.
So,
and it must have been kind of interesting for Portnoy because he knows all those guys so personally well too.
Good friends with them. Nathan, we haven't heard yours.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, well, I echo a lot of the same ones. I think my real one, I like the Moon Safari one. Definitely would love to see them come out the new album next year, which I think is possible. I think it might happen. But maybe Transatlantic just kidding, that it's not the final flight, that they can continue. Or maybe Spock's Beard, like the classic lineup reuniting, even if I did see them perform at the Morse Fest where they performed Snow Live. That was really great, but it'd be cool to see them like do an album together or something.
That would be
some kind of reunion.
Awesome. Even if it was just with Neil Morse guesting on a couple of tracks on a Spock's Beard album. Oh my god, that would make me so happy.
I thought for sure, as I was listening to the Myth of the Monster Fist, like the title track, that Neil Morse was going to come on to be the big prog rock singer.
Can you imagine?
And he
That
goes
would be so
closing
good.
off. Yeah, I was convinced. Maybe I'll change my wish for that.
I mean, let's be real here, though. That record is the best Spock's Beard album we've had in years.
Yeah, it's probably best one since Brief Nocturnes, in my opinion.
At least, yeah.
I honestly feel slightly dirty not including it on my top 15, but I know.
So with Cruise to the Edge and Flying Colors being the first announced band, are we going to get a new album from them?
Maybe.
I hope
Maybe.
so.
I've been really
Maybe.
thinking about
That'd
that
be good,
because
yeah.
Mm,
Morris has
I love
quit
me some flying
Deep
colors.
Purple now, so he's wide open to do anything he wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, his reason for quitting.
Well, yeah,
is-
exactly.
Yeah.
It's very valid, but
Yeah. I was surprised when they said Flying Colors because I thought Steve Morse was kind of
that's what I
for a
thought
while.
too. I was
Yeah,
actually shocked. I'm like,
yeah.
oh,
Mm,
okay.
Yeah, I guess he's
Love me
back.
some flying colors.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Amazing.
All right.
Cool.
I think
Well,
Are
like I
we
said,
done?
I got a jet,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
This was
Yeah.
great.
just wrap it up then, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. As usual, that has been fun, and let's do
Hell
this
yeah.
again in a month or so.
Absolutely.
Let's do it again.
Definitely.
Sounds great.
2022 retrospective. Let's go.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's going to be a long video.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
gonna be huge.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, guys, take care of each other. Look out for each other. Stay safe.
Definitely.
Have a
Have a good
Merry
one, everybody.
Christmas, a Happy
Happy
Hanukkah.
holidays. Happy
Thank you.
Hanukkah.
Happy
Merry
Hanukkah.
Christmas.
Take care of yourself, everyone.
Yeah, you guys take care. Night.
Okay. See ya.